Break down. To analyze and separate a complex substance into its constituent parts. Synonym for break down. Analyze, disassemble, decompose, deconstruct, dissolve, separate. To understand the chemical composition, scientists need to break down the substance into its elemental components. Scientists break down compounds to study their chemical composition. The research team will break down the complex phenomenon into manageable parts for analysis. Measure up. To determine the dimensions, size, or quantity of something. Synonym for measure up. Meet standards, fulfill requirements, match expectations, satisfy criteria, qualify, comply. The newly constructed telescope measures up to the highest standards of precision and accuracy. Researchers need to measure up the exact dosage for accurate results. It is essential to ensure that the data measures up to the established criteria before drawing conclusions. Zero in on. To focus closely on a specific detail or aspect in a scientific investigation. Synonym for zero in on. Focus on, concentrate on, target, zoom in on, home in on, center on. The scientists zeroed in on the precise location of the anomaly. By analyzing the spectroscopic data, scientists hope to zero in on the source of the anomaly. Researchers aim to zero in on the specific gene responsible for the observed trait. Rule out. To eliminate or exclude a possibility or hypothesis from consideration. Synonym for rule out. Exclude, eliminate, dismiss, reject, disregard, discard. After extensive testing, they were able to rule out certain factors. After careful examination, scientists were able to rule out contamination as a factor influencing the results. The experimental design helps to rule out alternative explanations for the observed behavior. Set up. To arrange or prepare the necessary equipment for an experiment or study. Synonym for set up. Arrange, prepare, establish, organize, install, configure. The laboratory technician will set up the equipment for the experiment according to the protocol. Before starting the experiment, they set up the laboratory apparatus. It took several hours to set up the specialized instrumentation for the study. Gather data. To collect information or evidence through observations and measurements. Synonym for gather data. Collect information, acquire data, amass data, compile data, collate data, aggregate data. Researchers gather data to support their hypotheses. The sensor array is designed to continuously gather data on environmental parameters. Field researchers will gather data on biodiversity by conducting surveys in various ecosystems. Scale up. To increase the size or magnitude of a process or experiment. Synonym for scale up. Increase, expand, enlarge, augment, amplify, boost. Scientists may need to scale up production for mass testing. The company plans to scale up production to meet the growing demand for the new product. Researchers aim to scale up the experimental model to simulate larger ecological systems. Dial in. To adjust or fine-tune parameters for precision in an experiment or process. Synonym for dial in. Adjust precisely, calibrate, fine-tune, optimize, fine-adjust, tweak. It's crucial to dial in the correct temperature for the reaction. It took some time to dial in the right settings for the microscope to capture clear images of the cells. The researchers needed to dial in the precise temperature and humidity levels for the experiment to yield accurate results. Fine-tune. To make small adjustments or refinements to improve accuracy or efficiency. Synonym for fine-tune. Adjust, refine, perfect, improve, modify, polish. After receiving feedback, the designer fine-tuned the layout of the website to enhance user experience. The researchers fine-tuned the experimental conditions for optimal results. The engineers fine-tuned the algorithm to improve the efficiency of the machine learning model. Hone in on. To concentrate or focus on a specific target or aspect of research. Synonym for hone in on. Focus on, zero in on, concentrate on, target, pinpoint, center on. The study hones in on the relationship between genetics and behavior. The scientists needed to hone in on the specific gene responsible for the observed trait. As the investigation progressed, detectives began to hone in on a particular suspect. Carry out. To execute or perform a scientific procedure or experiment. Synonym for carry out. Execute, perform, conduct, implement, undertake, accomplish. The research team successfully carried out the field study despite challenging weather conditions. The lab technicians carried out a series of tests to analyze the chemical composition of the samples. The team is planning to carry out a series of tests next week. Filter out. To remove unwanted elements or data from a set of results. Synonym for filter out. Remove, exclude, eliminate, weed out, screen out, sort out. The software is designed to automatically filter out background noise from audio recordings. Researchers had to filter out irrelevant data points to focus on the key variables affecting the outcome. Researchers filter out background noise in order to analyze relevant signals. Circulate through. To move or flow through a system, often used in the context of fluids. Synonym for circulate through. Flow through, move through, pass through, traverse, course through, stream through. The fluid needs to circulate through the cooling system to regulate temperature. Once injected, the dye will circulate through the bloodstream, allowing doctors to visualize blood flow. The coolant circulates through the system to maintain optimal operating temperatures. Phase in/out. To introduce or remove a component gradually in the course of an experiment. Synonym for phase in/out. Introduce gradually, implement gradually, integrate, transition in/out, bring in/out, incorporate. As the technology advances, older equipment will be phased out to make room for newer, more efficient models. Scientists may phase in new variables to observe their impact. The new safety protocols will be phased in gradually over the next few weeks. Lay the groundwork. To establish the initial foundation or basis for a scientific study. Synonym for lay the groundwork. Establish the foundation. Set the stage, prepare the groundwork, build the framework, create the basis, lay the foundation. Before conducting the experiment, the researchers spent months laying the groundwork, including designing protocols and securing funding. The preliminary studies laid the groundwork for further exploration into the potential therapeutic benefits of the compound. Before conducting experiments, researchers must lay the groundwork with thorough literature reviews. Sketch out. To outline or illustrate a plan or concept before implementing it. Synonym for sketch out. Outline, draft, plan, map out, sketch, design. Before beginning the coding process, the software engineer sketched out a flowchart to visualize the program's logic. The project manager sketched out a rough timeline for the completion of the construction project. The scientist sketched out the experimental design on the whiteboard. Navigate through. To carefully progress through a complex set of procedures or protocols. Synonym for navigate through. Maneuver through, guide through, traverse, progress through, move through, steer through. With the guidance of the mentor, the graduate student learned how to navigate through the complexities of academic publishing. The team had to navigate through a maze of regulatory requirements before gaining approval for the clinical trial. Researchers need to navigate through various steps to avoid errors. Zoom in. To focus closely on a particular aspect, especially when using technology. Synonym for zoom in. Enlarge, magnify, focus, zero in, hone in, home in. Microscopes allow scientists to zoom in on tiny structures for detailed examination. During the presentation, the speaker used a projector to zoom in on specific data points for a closer examination. Using the microscope, the biologist zoomed in on the cellular structure to observe minute details. Prop up. To provide support or reinforcement for a project or decision. Synonym for prop up. Support, bolster, reinforce, sustain, underpin, strengthen. The latest findings prop up the existing understanding of the phenomenon. The new experimental evidence helps prop up the existing theory about the origins of the universe. Additional funding from the grant will prop up the research project, allowing for further exploration. Wash out. To remove impurities or unwanted substances, often used in laboratory processes. Synonym for wash out. Rinse, cleanse, purify, flush out, remove, detoxify. The lab technician washed out the test tubes to remove any residual chemicals before starting the experiment. After several failed attempts, the researcher realized that the sample was contaminated and needed to wash it out thoroughly. The researcher needed to wash out contaminants from the sample. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.